Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all. Let's do some more game dev. The to-do list here is getting rather short, which is good. I think a lot of this stuff is not going to be stream-worthy stuff. I still have to do a bunch of sound effects. Right now I'm actually working on trying to create a legendary alchemy output sound effect, but that's not going super well. I was having a real hard time with sound effects for some of these, but all that work is being done off stream. But yeah, all the things on the to-do list are getting very, very slim. So I think for the streams that I'll be doing from now until the release of the playtest, which will be, I guess, in 6 days, is we'll just add a bunch of new content. There are a couple of things that I want to do though. We do need to add an obelisk power for the new Grow Board event, and maybe allow opening the combat log after the final boss. We'll see. We could take a look at those things for sure. But anyway, before I get into that, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. So if you're interested in dark fantasy roguelite auto battlers, then definitely check that out. I would appreciate that. You could also support the game on Patreon. If you support at any tier, you will be able to access the Patreon early access period for the playtest. So again, the playtest is launching at the end of this month. If you're an active Patreon subscriber, you will be able to access the playtest for 1 week earlier than everyone else. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, you will have to wait for a week until after the Patreon early access period, and then anyone who wants to play the game will have a week of access to the playtest as well. So there's no need to support on Patreon, but you do get a couple of good perks if you do. If you subscribe at this top tier, I will send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, and I will include your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits, and you get unlimited access to my course content while you're subscribed. Or you could purchase the courses individually on Udemy, one-time purchase, no subscription required. So yeah, all that is to say, like, there are a number of ways to support me. Wishlisting helps a lot. Checking out the courses helps a lot. Supporting our Patreon helps a lot. But even just liking the video, subscribing to the channel, joining the Discord, all of that stuff helps. So definitely check out the links in the description below if you're interested in helping me out. And with all that out of the way, we could go ahead and get started here. Hello, Light Tiramisu, welcome back. Hello, Juicy Benji, welcome back. Haven't been paying attention since November. How are we coming along? The game has changed a lot since November. The game has changed a lot. Firebelly's on fire. Thank you, the doll light. Hello, V. Welcome back. To-do list tend to be fractal. Yeah. Hello, Flo. Usually watch you on replay while coding myself. Great to finally catch you live. Well, welcome. Yeah, glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. Already wishlisted. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Good to see you. Will it be Steam Deck optimized? In terms of like having controller support, yeah, controller support is something that I'm going to be adding to the game. And I think once controller support is there, it will be basically Steam Deck optimized. I don't think there's anything really to do beyond that. Oh, guess what? Here comes the cat. What? Anyway, so yeah, controller support, once that's in, it will basically, like for Gunforged, Gunforged is Steam Deck verified. And that happened automatically like a couple of weeks after I launched the game. And according to my research or what Steam says, like they will just go and test the games on Steam Deck themselves somehow if a game is popular enough. And then if it works well on Steam Deck, they'll just slap the Steam Deck verified badge on it. And all I did for Gunforged is I just made sure that it runs on like a Linux system, number one. Although I think Proton works on Steam Deck too. But anyway, you know, Godot automatically supports building for Linux. So I did that, and then I had controller support and made sure the entire game was interactable with the controller only, and that worked. So Gunforged is Steam Deck verified. And I think for Alchemortis, it'll be the same thing. I just have to make sure the whole game is playable with just a controller, and that'll work. Okay. Proton is enough, yeah. Yeah. But, you know, if I can produce the native Linux binaries, then might as well do that, right? Okay. So we have a couple of options. I think I want to add a new obelisk power for the grow board event. So that should be relatively easy because I have the framework in place already. The thing that I don't know how to do or don't know what to do is what the benefit should actually be. So to refresh obelisk configuration. So the obelisk is an event that you can interact with that will change nodes on the map. And then it will buff all nodes of that type with a certain buff. So for instance, I can change 3 nodes to combat nodes, and then any combat node within the radius of the obelisk will award 5 additional blood. So that's what I've got going on there. And so we want to do one for the grow board event. Now I think I want to make the grow board event rarer. So I'm going to change these, these loot weights here. They all have an equal weight, but I'm going to change the weight of some of these things so that they're rarer. So we've got the max health one, that's okay. Enchant We'll probably turn this one down. Let's turn this one down to 7. Artifact node, that definitely needs to be lower. Let's do 4. No, let's do 3 for that one. Upgrade card, that one can be fine. Shop, we'll turn that down to 5. Reagent. Let's turn this one down to 8. Booster node is fine. Combat node is fine. Okay. And then we're going to need to add one for... We need to add one for the grow board event. So event type grow board, amount to change 1. We're going to have to write a new map node effect for that. Transforms one nearby node. Board growth node. There goes the cat. Hey, cat. Have you ever considered not screaming while I'm streaming? Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered not screaming while I'm streaming? This is the culprit. This is the attention goblin. This is the train of thought derailer. This is the, What are you looking at? I love when cats do that. They just like, they look so intently at nothing, like they're busy or something. Anyway, all nearby board growth nodes will increase your maximum health. No, that's wrong. All nearby board growth nodes will allow you will allow you to grow your board in an additional time. Okay. So that's going to be a little bit difficult because I'm going to have to add that logic into the grow board event. But we could probably just borrow this one. Actually, where's the artifact one? Yeah, let's copy this. Create new file. Grow board additional growth. Map node effect. Grow board additional growth map node effect. Grow board. Board can grow an additional time. I guess we won't make this one stack. Although I guess we could. Yeah, let's do that. Var total additional growth is equal to mathf.min grouped effects dot count 4, so it can go up to 4 times. If total additional growth is equal to 1, we'll just return get description, and then otherwise we're going to return this. Your board can grow total additional growth additional times. Okay, that should work. So now in the obelisk configuration, grow board additional growth map effect. All right, so that's the easy part, the obelisk configuration. Oh, and I want to set this up to, we're going to make this relatively rare as well. Okay. All right, I think that's good. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, so now we need to go to the grow board container, and we gotta add a bunch of logic to support that. So that may be a little bit tricky because now I need to change my animations to some extent. Anyway, depends on the engine. Some of the older Linux ports aren't very good compared to how the Windows version runs under Proton Wine. Oh, interesting. Okay. Cat, yeah. Hello, Emerson. Good morning. We can't hear him. Give him his mic. Yeah, I should get like a little, one of those little wireless mics that people use for like presentations at conferences and stuff, and just put it around his little head. Give him a little headset, and so as he's screaming around the house, you could just hear him. That would actually be really funny. I think the only flaw in that plan would be I don't think he would keep that on his head for very long. But maybe if I gave him a little collar with a mic, but then you would hear other gross sounds, like if he happened to start licking himself, to keep it a little bit polite. What do you mean by not screaming? Yeah. Cat probably saw the ghost of an angry coder who's judging you silently. Hello, welcome back, J. Jonah Jack. That's a fun name to say, J. Jonah Jack. Hello, Bubblegum Lord, welcome back. Good to see you. We have lots of snow here. I'm in the part of the United States that has a massive snowstorm coming through. I was looking at, reading about it the other day. It's like 1,700 miles wide or something. A little bit less than 1,700 miles wide, which for the people that use kilometers is, I don't know how much, double that. Hello, Syed Yawar? I think I'll just say Syed. Hopefully that's the correct pronunciation. Welcome, good morning to you as well. Glad to have you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my artifact container. All right. This is not right. That's the wrong artifact container. Artifact event container. Set choices remaining. Okay, so I'll probably want to do that. So, oh, did I close my grow board container? Choices remaining equals 1. Public void set choices remaining. Cool. So now let's look at my artifact event state machine. Set choices remaining choice count. So we'll grab this. We'll go to my grow board event state machine. Map node effects manager. Get count map node effects of type. Grow board container. No. Grow board additional map node effect. Context of current node +1. Okay. Yeah. Set choices remaining there. Now, I do need to restrict this. So var. So choice count is equal to mathf.min. Choice count 4. So because there's only 4 directions, if for some reason this happened to stack beyond 4, which is highly unlikely, maybe even impossible, but in the off chance that that happens, we want to make sure not to break the game or soft lock it. So we're always going to make it so that you can only choose up to 4 grow board directions. But in reality, I'm not expecting that to even be possible. I think it will be possible to get 2 grow board choices, obviously, but then there are certain scenarios where I'm imagining that you could get up to 3 if you're very careful about how you plan things. But yeah, I think getting to 4 and beyond 4 is largely going to be impossible, but we'll see. Players will hopefully surprise me there. All right, so we got our choices remaining. So now when I select one, play click animation. So we've got the fade out tasks. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to need to split this up because right now, the way that the grow board works, let me try this. So if I go to my grow board, does this work? Grow board container. Can I just run this as its own scene? I may have to set up some tests because I don't want to have to go through the whole map process. Okay, so that does work in the test here. So what we're going to want to do is, if we have more than one choice, we're going to want to fade that clicked one out and then retain the other ones as well. And then when the choices gets down to 0, then we're going to want to fade everything out. So I'm going to need to split this up a little bit. Okay, so we're probably going to want a private async void play out animation. So the play out animation is just going to be things that need to that's just going to be the cleanup animations. So we've got this highlight task here. Fade out task, fade highlight out. So this is all good. So this all can stay. Let's do a task pending highlight task equals null. Actually, we'll pass that in. Then we'll grab this. Fade out tasks is equal to pending highlight task. Okay, I'm going to also need another, let's do this. Private hash set. This is not that great, but whatever. Chosen directions. We can make this read only. Chosen directions dot add sprite. Then down in here, if chosen directions contains direction sprite, continue. Fade out tasks, add fade out. Then we're going to await task when all. Okay, so we can do all of this here. Wait visual utilities, fade out. Tween action. Oh, it's waiting. Oh, it's gonna. Let's do choices remaining minus minus. Wait a minute. I don't need any of these anymore. Okay, if choices remaining is greater than 0, then we're going to do tween.tween action. Yeah. We'll do this. We need to do clickable coordinator dot enable mouse input, and then we want to do this fade out here. However, I am going to want yeah, I'm going to need to relate the clickable controls to the sprites, I think. This is a little bit messy, but I'm going to do this anyway. We'll pass in the clickable control that is associated with the click one. Play click animation. Let's put the clickable control here. Okay. Pass it in there. Clickable control dot add mouse add input lock. So basically when we select one but we have more choices remaining, we're going to want to enable all of the mouse input for the remaining ones so that you can click them again, but then we want to re-block the input for that direction that you already chose. I think that's what we want to do. And then I need to pass that all in here. Let's actually change the order of those arguments. North clickable control. There we go. Thank you, Copilot. That's where you're useful. When Copilot is firing on all cylinders, that's when it's useful. I didn't have to type all that stuff. I just hit tab and it does it for me. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Else play out animation, visual utilities. So I am going to need sprite 2D, last clicked sprite, sprite. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is I just want to test and make sure that I didn't break the base case for this, which is just one choice. So I should essentially see the same thing happening. Okay, that works. So now what we need to do is increase this choices remaining. And then we'll see what that does. Hello, Shoya Hinata. Can I know why you don't use GDScript? Just a preference? It's just a preference, yeah. Just a preference. I like C# better. I find it easier to structure my game systems in C#. So that's all. Is it Winter Storm in your area too? Yes, it is. Yes, indeed. Welcome back, by the way, Evan. Good to see you again. Hello, Bomb That Implodes. Welcome. Can't stay for the stream. Just wanted to say good morning to everyone. Good morning to you. Yeah, thanks for popping in to say that. Always appreciate having you here, even if just for a few minutes. Hello, Chris. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, that's not fading out for some reason. Why is that not fading out? Also going to reverse this. Okay, so why is that not fading out? We already have half a foot of snow, yikes. So my area, the place where I live is kind of weird. Even when my general area gets a lot of snow, like my neighborhood doesn't typically get a lot of snow, but that is not the case this time. I think we have, I don't know how much, like maybe 3 inches, 4 inches or something. The roads are definitely not plowed, so yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Why is that not fading out? Did that play hello? It did. What are we coding here? Hopefully a shovel will be easier. Yeah. We are adding an obelisk power for the grow board event where it will give you an extra grow board, basically. But I'm just working on the animations now and it's not working. This fade out for some reason is not working. I wonder if it's because I'm swapping the materials. Maybe I need to do this in a different order. When starting to build this game, how much time did you spend on designing and scoping as well as architecture before you started implementing? Always curious on the process. Excuse me. So when I started the game, I didn't even know I was going to have an alchemy system. So, and I say that to kind of illustrate the fact that, yeah, there was basically like no planning. I think pre-planning things like what your architecture is going to be is kind of, at least for me, for my workflow, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but it's kind of like counterproductive because I'm not that great of a game designer, to be honest, and so I have to constantly iterate on the game design and like fix things and put in place the proper incentives and rework systems. And so if my game design isn't in place, then coming up with an architecture for a system that may not continue to exist or will change dramatically is just going to be a waste of time and effort. So I just kind of build the systems that... Can you stop? Can you stop? I'm trying to talk, and this cat is every 3 seconds meowing in my ear. What is wrong with you? Why is it every day when I stream? Every day. Every day. Why is it every day when I stream, buddy? So yeah, I guess that's a long way of saying that I kind of have to figure out what the game design is first, and then I build the systems as necessary to support whatever direction the game design is going in. And that's the point where I start to think about like how to properly create the systems and whatnot. So yeah, I don't do any pre-planning from a technical side, really. I just get the features in the game that I know I'm going to want. Like, so for instance, when I started this game, I knew it was going to be an auto battler with like an inventory management system. So the first thing I did basically was just get, you know, card placement working, working on the turn orchestrator so that it can actually execute the card's turns and all that stuff. But then as, you know, the ability system got more complex, as I wanted to support more possibilities with the ability system, I started building that system out. And then, you know, when the alchemy system came out, I did a couple of iterations on how that worked, because originally it worked in a very, very random, haphazard way, but that has changed recently with the addition of like reagents and stuff. And so, yeah, I think all that is to say that I kind of just don't build the technical systems until I need them. And even then, the technical systems will often get completely reworked or scrapped. So I don't do a whole lot of pre-planning for the technical systems. I just start building the game, start with the features I know that I need, and I just keep incrementally adding and removing and tweaking stuff as I identify problems or things that are lacking, that kind of thing. Hope DoorDash are adept at skiing, yeah. We got 4 inches at least here, yeah, it's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one. Welcome back, Toothless Grin, by the way. Hello, Mulk. Welcome. Good to see you again. Mulk, everybody, is the developer of Death Howl, which is an excellent game, so definitely check it out. And I very much hope that I did not just misremember that, but I'm almost positive that that is true what I just said. So definitely check out Death Howl on Steam, everybody. And welcome back, Mulk, again. 2 questions. How did you like working with Copilot? Or how do you like working with Copilot? Do you find the programming harder to do while streaming, or does it actually help talking out loud and explaining your thought process? So Copilot is great for like rote tasks. The Copilot autocomplete can be very helpful sometimes because it just reduces the amount of like rote code that you need to write. And it's also nice to have an integrated like AI chat window in the code base that can read all of your context, that's easy to share context with, so that it can give you recommendations for like architecture and whatnot. So I like it. It's definitely a useful tool. I'm not using it as like all of these kind of like these AI quote unquote gurus use it, where they're like, I have all these contexts set up and I have it pulling in Jira, and you know, I give it all these business requirements and then it like vibe codes the whole system. I'm not using it like that because I find that that's kind of you know, it's you still have to wrestle with the AI a lot of times to get it to do what you want, especially in the context of like Godot and game development. I think maybe it's better for like traditional software engineering. We're just writing a bunch of API endpoints, but in this case, I mostly just use it for very narrow and tailored things. Like, so when I was trying to optimize the map generation, all these decorations here need to be placed, the roads need to be placed. I also have some requirements on the map, like decorations can't be placed too close to a road. Otherwise I'd have trees like in the middle of the road, right? So I have to make clearings for the road and all that stuff. So the initial approach that I took was a naive approach that took a long time to generate. And what I did is I just pointed the AI at that file and said, hey, I need to optimize this and how quick it generates. And it created a bunch of alternative ways of doing the stuff that I was trying to do, which were much faster. So it helps to reduce a lot of the workload in those kinds of scenarios. So yeah, I generally like it, but I'm not using it like for everything, you know what I mean? Hello, SOS mean SOS. I'm looking into game dev, but I'm wondering whether to pick up Godot or Unity. I'm basically a noob with close to 0 XP on coding and graphic. Any advice you could share? Thanks. Yeah, so I think getting programming experience with whatever language you want to use is very important. So the problem with starting from absolute zero with no programming experience and no game engine experience is that you're kind of going to be adding difficulty curves together. So there's the difficulty curve of programming, but then there's the difficulty curve of thinking in terms of game development, like with positions and velocities and frame by frame processing. Like that's a very different way of thinking, even from like traditional software development. So I kind of recommend that people take at least like a programming crash course or something, where they can learn like what a variable is, what a function is, what a class is, and how to use those things to create, you know, functionality. There goes the cat again. And then you can go into the game development side of things with a little bit of programming experience. That said, you know, I think, you know, Godot or Unity, use whatever one looks most appealing to you. I mean, you have nothing to lose except time, and you can definitely try them both. Of course, I'm going to recommend Godot because I'm a Godot fanboy, but whether you use Godot or Unity is largely up to the needs of your project and what you personally prefer. So yeah, I hope that helps. Just squish that cat, sentence that cat to be a stream star. Good morning, RN Genesis, welcome back. I'm similar in a way that I need to have stuff in front of me to actually think about the intricate design and iterate on it. Yeah. I have a real actual question about Godot. When it comes to writing resource classes, can you add code that is run when the resource object is created? I think so. Let me see. Maybe not. So it doesn't have an init function. I wonder if you could just use a constructor. Probably not, but we could try it. I don't know if that's good practice. So the answer to your question is I don't know. In my game, I load up all my resources ahead of time. Let's see. Yeah, the constructor doesn't get called. So you can't use a constructor. Did I restart the game? Or did I just... Let me just try it. Yeah, the constructor doesn't work and there's no init function. So maybe not. The only other thing I can think of is that you have this notification. So public override void notification. The problem is I don't know if there's a notification for the resource instantiation. Ref counted. Yeah, I don't think... So the only notifications that you would have access to in the resource looks like editor settings changed and then these ones here. And none of those are initialized. So maybe not. Maybe that's not possible. But in my case, what I'm doing is I'm loading up all the resources at runtime, and then I'm calling this initialize function on them so I can run a sort of constructor. And then when I need a new reference to this resource, I just call duplicate on it. And that pulls over all the things that I want to duplicate. So that's the pattern that I'm using, and that's kind of that's a way that you can get around the fact that you don't have, I guess, constructor-ish stuff to work with. But it's kind of annoying because then you have to load up all the resources at start, call initialize on them. And obviously this initialize doesn't work if you want to support something like constructor arguments. So it's a little bit annoying, I guess, but yeah, maybe there's no way to do it. Only thing I could think of was a constructor method, yeah. Hello, Clickertail, welcome, welcome. Make a static class that returns a resource. Yeah, you could definitely do that. That's a good solution. But yeah, there's no direct way to like run some code on initialize. I guess you'd have to do something like what Kurt suggested here. Resource is a ref count class, so it has a init method, but you have to make that resource in runtime. Oh, interesting. Hello, John A. If it's runtime, maybe some sort of JavaScript. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that's in reference to. Okay, anyway. So we got to figure out why this isn't working. Oh, there we go. Oh, and that one reappears. Okay, that's not good. Why is that not working? I think I've got some weird stuff happening with the materials here. Oops, wrong scene. So that one disappears, but then when I click this one, that reappears. Why is that happening? I'm adding chosen directions. Enable mouse input, remove input lock. Why is it reappearing? Disable mouse input. I think this disable mouse input is maybe changing the material again. So the problem is the clickable coordinators are changing the material of the sprites, but then the sprites need to have the material changed for the fade out as well. So I think the material is probably being overridden. Yeah. So this disable mouse input here, add input lock, mouse input locks plus plus. So is this just emitting the input disabled every time, even if there's already a lock on it? I think that's what's happening. Do I even need this anymore? Oh, I do, yeah. If was 0, this is a dangerous change, but we'll see. Not was 0. That is a dangerous change because that's going to affect every clickable coordinator, but I think I don't want to emit these signals. I only want to emit these signals when the value changes from, or value changes to 0, or value changes to greater than 0, but only once, right? Okay, that seems to be working. I'm going to need to very carefully check that logic, though. I think that's okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll just keep an eye on that. But I think this works now, so I can get rid of this. See what happens. That's a joke, sorry. Also, hello. Oh, gotcha. I guess I missed the joke. Guess I missed the joke, because resource is ultimately based on object, right? Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, this is the issue. There's no init override on a resource class. Okay, so we've got that going. So now it's time to test if this actually works in-game. Obelisk configuration. get rid of all these, except for the last 3 here. And we'll run the game and we'll see if this works. Here we go. Oh, did I ever change? Oh, I forgot to change this back to 1. Try it again. Hello, Straight Business. Sorry to ask a basic question. Are you getting autocomplete and such in C# within Godot? I thought you had to use Visual Studio for that. Yeah, you do have to use an IDE for C# support. I'm using VS Code. I'm not using the Godot editor. Any C# IDE will work. Visual Studio is one, Rider is one, VS Code is one. Okay, let's see if this works. So that should transform to grow a board. And now both of these should have that option. So I go here, and I should be able to choose 2 directions now. Nice. That seems to work. That'll work. I'm buying your C# course this afternoon. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. That might be very strong, but we'll keep an eye on it, I suppose. Again, it's a rare thing, so... But if it's too powerful, we can rein it in some way, but I think that's okay. All right. Add obelisk power for grow board event. I'm still nervous a little bit about this. I think the logic is okay here, but... You know, we'll have to try it. I mean, I might just run through. Let's not skip the menu. Let's just see what happens. So the thing about the C# API, I think, is I don't know if all of the virtual methods in GDScript are overridable in C#. I'm not sure. Because I think some of the virtual methods are like internal to Godot. So they're not exposed as being like overridable. Also, I don't think that virtual method is the same thing. Local to scene is just like duplicating the resource whenever a scene references it. So that way, as you instantiate scenes, they're not sharing a reference to the same resource instance. That's what local to scene does. I have the GDScript one, but I work in C# at work now. Actually, thanks to your GDScript course, I presented a game in an interview within Godot. Definitely helped me make. Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. That's very cool. So far, so good. These clickable controls seem to be working still. I have to tell you, I'm somewhat shocked that this big L tapeworm card works as well as it does with respect to placing it in the inventory. I mean, look at that. Just bring this down, move everything out of the way. That's pretty cool. I think we're good. I was just clicking around to make sure that those that clickable control change didn't obviously and immediately break anything, and I don't think it did, so we're good. So we can commit that. That has been in my to-do list for a while. I'm glad that's done. Move this to done. Okay. Allow opening combat log after final boss. That one is going to be a difficult one to test, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I could set up some debug data for that. Do I want to do that though? Allow opening combat log after final boss. I think there's a way I can do this. Let me see. We'll try this. This was a very much requested thing, so we'll see if I can get it in place for the playtest here. It might be okay, but it's going to be a little bit annoying to test. That inventory is slick. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very happy with how it worked out. Does it still function the same when it's full screen? Yeah, it should. I guess I'm not... the inventory still function the same when it's full screen? You have to open slots in the cell board as well? No, that's not the case. I have the cell board locked for the tutorial so that players can't brick the tutorial by selling their cards. So it's just locked for the tutorial, but it's automatically open during the normal gameplay. That was just my way of getting around the players selling cards in the tutorial. Now, maybe a more sophisticated way of handling that would be to allow the player to sell the card, but don't give them any blood and just say, oops, you can't be selling cards right now, we're trying to learn, and just put the card back in their inventory. But, you know, that tutorial can be iterated upon. All right, so I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we're going to try to get this combat log to be openable after the final boss. Maybe keep it locked, yeah. We'll try to do this one, and then if we have time after that, what we'll do is maybe we'll do some new content. I have nowhere to be today, so maybe we can do a little bit of a longer stream as well. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, give me 3 minutes. I'll be right back, and we will continue on. Okay, I'm back. Let's see what we can do with this. Allow opening combat log. Let me get it all set up first for testing. Let's see. So we'll just change that logic there. And then what I should be able to do is, we have God mode already, and then I can set this debug notoriety level to 99. And so what that should do is, as soon as I visit one node, I'll get thrust into the boss fight. I can end the boss fight quickly with the God mode, and then we'll see the victory screen, and I'll be able to test the opening of the combat log from there. So we skip that. The stream is great. Yes, it is. Yeah. Everyone is chill, nerdy, and I kind of love it. Sorry for the newbie question. Does it say the game name anywhere as these are scrolling through? No. I should probably add that. I think I should probably add that. I've got too many things to do. Hello, Diginanigans. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Alrighty. So combat log. So we get this victory screen here. So firstly, what I want to do is with this margin container here, margin left 102. So we center it. So now it's centered in this area here. And then, so there's a couple of ways to do this. None of that is clickable. Interesting. These aren't clickable, so the victory screen is blocking all mouse input events, which was originally intentional, but if I can't open this, I guess I can just make this dismissible. So there's a couple approaches that I could take to this. I can make this dismissible, so you could just close it, and then you can interact with anything on the screen. You won't be able to go forward though. You'd have to just open up the pause menu and go to menu, quit to menu here. So that's one option. That's probably the best option. Might be a little bit weird for the player to be able to interact with everything, but I think that's probably the way I'll go. The other really hacky solution would be to like create very specific bounding boxes around the inventory and like down here and just like carve out a little place where the mouse events can be handled by this. So you could just click this while this is open. But I don't think I want to do that. I think I can make this probably dismissible. And then just let the player play around on that end screen, because then you can see all the cards that you had. You could think about different strategies you could have used. You could take a look at your artifacts again. It's probably the way to do it. So let's change this to VBox container. Dismiss button. This looks kind of weird now. Something like that. We'll just copy the playout function here. Discord button disabled. Oh, is this never being freed? I guess it's not. Oh well, I don't think that's important for this one. We'll queue free this one. I guess this doesn't need to be async then. Okay, and then we'll do a dismiss button. So we'll do private button, dismiss button. I would definitely structure this a little bit better, but this is just kind of like a garbage scene. It's not going to be here for forever. On dismiss button pressed, play out. Okay, let's see if that works. Just got a fresh cup of coffee and going through working on my own game in C# with Godot. Good way to avoid the weather. Yes, indeed. Yeah, got a nice little like co-working going on here. Lots of people working on their own games, throwing me on in the background. It's totally fine. Maybe adding another rectangle over the button that you want to click so it acts like normal. Maybe that could work. Yeah, it could, but I think this solution is going to work a little bit better. So this will pop up. We got dismiss to menu. So if I dismiss this, now I can open my combat log. I can see any artifacts that I would have. I just have no way of going forward, which is all right. Does this actually pause the tree? But yeah, and then I can just go here and I can go quit to menu when I'm done. Now it skips the menu because I have that debug setting in place, but I think that will work. So you'll be able to see your entire build after you beat the final boss by just clicking that dismiss button. One thing that I'm curious about is why I can still hover over these even when this is up. That's kind of concerning. So this victory notice is layer 12 in the drawer UI. I think that's related to I think it's related to how I'm doing the polygon handling, if I'm not mistaken. So this is inside of the drawer UI, and the drawer UI is inside of this event camera, which has a layer of 10. Now I'm wondering, is this also going to be the case for the pause as well? So if I do increase board size, anything that has a polygonal click area. Interesting. I guess this is not really something that I need to figure out, but I kind of want to figure out because it could present an issue in the future. On mouse entered. Oh, it's probably this. If not is hovered, handle polygon click area. Might need to rework this a little bit. I don't think this is proper. I don't think that this is proper. Let me try something a little bit here. I think I can rework this. If EVT is input event mouse motion. Let's do if has polygonal click area and input event is mouse motion. Take those out, put that here, return out of this. So if it's an input event mouse motion, we're not going to handle anything else. I think that might work. Let's see. So all I was doing before is I was just checking if the global mouse position was in the polygon area, but I was not doing that based on... Oh, now it's not working at all. I was not doing that based on whether the mouse is actually interacting with the control at all. But now it's not working at all. And that's because I'm setting this mouse filter to ignore. Oh. Well... All right, I'm gonna have to think about that later. I don't think that's super important to handle here, but it is a minor bug. We won't worry about that just yet, but I'm gonna write that down. And it's not an important bug to fix, but differentiate between mouse events that are intercepted, mouse events that can be handled, because it's simply doing a global mouse position check inside the area. So I'll write that down. I'll just log that to make sure that I'm tracking it somewhere, but it's not a big deal. It's not causing any issues right now. Okay, so this is done. Put all this back. Okay, allow player to view build and combat log after last. Oh wait, one thing I need to do is change this back. That would have been bad. Am I missing anything else here? No. Okay. After last boss fight. Cool. All right, that's fixed. Hello, Bomb That Implodes. Welcome back. Good to see you. I know it's a lot to ask, but it would be cool to get a detailed overview of how much damage each individual card made at the end, how much of each type of damage was dealt. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's... I have all that data, and it's just a matter of how do I present that data to the player. So I think the hard part, yeah, is just going to be the UI design, but all the data is there. Like, I know what abilities were executed by which card and how much damage they did and so on and so forth. I may need to make some improvements to the data structure depending on what I need to do, but yeah, all that data is largely being tracked, so maybe not as big of an ask as you might think. Hello, Ataxic, welcome. Seems impossible when I think about the way you've flattened abilities before executing them. There's no way to tell which card caused how much damage afterward, is there? Yeah, because each ability that gets flattened is tracked, and as part of the tracking data, it puts the card that owns that ability in the data entry that gets added to the history. So I do have like a history of every ability that was executed by every card. So I don't think, I mean, it depends on ultimately what needs to be presented to the player, but I don't think it would be that difficult. The most difficult part of that, honestly, would just be, yeah, doing the UI design, but then having like a transformation or a data collection system where I'm actually gathering all of the relevant data in a way that's readable to the player. You know, it's similar to like my combat log. If I look at my combat log here, like in here, nope. Combat log manager. So in here, I have to construct all of these strings based on which abilities were executed and which damage types were executed. And so I'd have to do a similar thing for like showing the stats of a card after the run is over or after a combat is over. So this would be the hardest part, is just like handling all the different ability types and making sure that the language for each of those is proper. But that's not terribly difficult either, it's just a lot of work. This is all the combat log code. Anyway. Yeah. What genre of game are you making? It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can use alchemy to create your own synergies and builds. There's more information on the Steam page, NoGravPK. So the Steam page is linked in the description below if you want to check it out, and consider wishlisting it if it sounds interesting to you. How do you hide the red boxes when the game is running? That's just normal reference rect behavior. A reference rect only shows up in the UI by default, or in the editor by default, I mean, and then in the game it doesn't draw those red boxes. So this is very, like, if you just need like a control node that is acting as like a clickable area or whatever, it's nice to use a reference rect for that, because then you can see the clickable area in the editor, but then when you go into the game, it doesn't render. All right. We have 2 items left in the to-do list, and both of these things are things that I don't really want to do on stream. So we can consider making a new card or something like that. Do some new artifacts, new cards, whatever we want to do. A bomb. We have an explosive flask already, but that's a good suggestion. The frog, maybe. Yeah, I do need to redraw the frog. I just don't, I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. Maybe I'll make that one of my goals for the, for before the playtest is done. Or before the playtest is available. An explosive flask that implodes, an implosive flask, yeah. All right, what do we want to do? What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see a new reagent? Do you want to see a new card? Do you want to see a new artifact? What do you want to see? Here's all the card ideas I've written down here. I know you can't see the full list, but... I know Wooius wants to see the cauldron. New artifact. Let's take a look at our artifacts ideas. So Monkey Paw, I talked about that one yesterday. Enemy minions have turn cooldown increased by 1. Increased damage based on held currency. Cards are upgraded by an additional tier whenever using upgrade. Increased chance of legendary alchemy output. Increased fire applied time to trigger. Increased fire applied but increased time to trigger. Fire stacks remain after triggering. Reduce wanted level gain. Philosopher's Stone, I don't know what that one is. Prevent death caused by holy damage. All shielding applied is increased by 1 per 25 max HP. I don't know if I like that one. Track blood spent, offer bonuses like extra card over a certain threshold. Interesting. Transmute status into another status. I already did that one. That's the wand. Cost to unlock board cells reduced by 1. I have an idea. What do you guys think about this one? This one might be cool. Upon acquiring, swaps values of blood and alchemical residue. How's that? So what I'm thinking is that, you know, you've got, 10 alchemical residue and like 15 or 20 blood. And then when you pick up this artifact, it swaps those values. Then you get 20 alchemical residue and 10 blood. So that could be a great way of just getting like a whole burst of alchemical residue that you can use to unlock your board. What do you think about that? And yeah, I was thinking exactly an hourglass. Yeah, we can do that one too. Artifact. But I think this one sounds interesting. What do you guys think about that? Swaps the values of blood and alchemical residue. Which could be really powerful because if you've saved up like 50 blood and then you get that artifact, you can just unlock cells in your board to your heart's content, basically. And remember, the alchemical residue is the currency that you need to unlock the board cells. Sounds cool? All right, Wooius says it sounds cool, so that's what we're doing. No one else gets an opinion. No, I do want to do this one. I do want to do this one. And very worth it, yeah. And I think it's going to depend, right? Because you don't know what artifacts you're going to be presented when you get to an artifact node. And so you may not, like, it's not like you're going to be able to plan for doing that swap. I mean, you can try, I guess, but... Yeah, sounds cool. Yeah, I think it will be cool. So let's do it. Now we need an idea for what the artifact could actually be. Now we need an idea for what the ability or the artifact could actually be. Let me think. Sorry, I'm seeing something here that I want to change. Yeah. Every time I look at this, I find little things that I want to tweak. We're just having fun. What's the point of doing game development if you're not having fun, you know? I think that looks a little bit better. The telescope, I need to just redo that one, I think. Okay, anyway, what kind of artifact? Holding blood and then converting it for a massive board sounds like a strategy. I'm sure will be an artifact that increases blood gain, so that'll be a nice synergy. Yeah, for sure. The empty vial needs a highlight on the glass. Oh, okay. We could do that. Immortality elixir consumed. Wonder if also just like doing something like this would help. Oh, yeah. I think that looks better. How's that? A scale on one pan, there is blood on the other residue. Okay. Could definitely do that. Actually, I'd probably just copy what I have over here. Probably the hardest way to do that, but that's all right. There we go. It's better. Okay. A scale, huh? Let's see if I can do that. I'm running out of space. I don't know if I have enough space to do a scale. Guess I can move this over one. I have some constraints here, like it needs to be at least 3 pixels off the edge of the border here in every direction for the outline. So I don't really have a whole lot of room to work here. And then I have even less room to draw that residue in the blood. So I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe if I was a better artist, I would be able to make that work. But let's think of something else. I think it's too small compared to the others. Yeah. Let's think of something else. I understand just throwing ideas. No, it was a good idea. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I tried it. It's just, yeah, it's just not going to work in this case. So what else? I mean, it can be a mythical thing too. It doesn't need to be something that can actually be real. Like I've got a basilisk eye here, which is cool. So we could just, and this is just like a skeletal hand, but then I give it a name like, oh, it's the hand of such and such necromancer. Isn't that cool, right? So it doesn't need to, it could just be like an ordinary item that has like a special name, or it could be something completely made up, you know? I'm blanking on ideas though. Chat, help me, chat. Give me artifact ideas. Come on, chat, you can do it. Make my game for me, please. You guys can do it. This game won't get made unless everyone tells me how to make it. Give me 1 second here. Maybe something rotten, something that once had blood but now produces alchemical residue. Interesting, okay. So we could do something like... We could do like a unicorn horn or something. What about that? Would that work? Kind of cliche, but hey, what is a fantasy universe if not cliche? I'll do it for $1 billion. A squid? I already have a squid in the game. That could work. Maybe a heart. Once pump blood, now produces residue. I already have a heart card as well. I'm trying not to reuse too many of the same, like, fundamental ideas. Like, obviously, like, skeletons and bones are going to be a common theme, and blood and hearts are going to be a common theme, but I already have a card that's just a heart, so I wouldn't want to do an artifact that is also just a heart, right? Now, if you could imagine, like, maybe it's a heart that's all connected to all these alchemical instruments, right? But that runs into the problem of I don't have enough space to convey that. Yeah, we have 2 squids. Do we have 2? Oh, yeah. This one, right? Yeah. Very funny. Very funny. Very funny. Well, I mean, let's just see if I can make this look good. One of the things that's weird about, like, spiral things is it's kind of hard to make them... look decent. At least in my experience. My experience as a inexperienced artist. I wonder if I could use... Let's see. I mean, that doesn't look terrible, I suppose. Hmm. Well, how are we feeling? Yeah. Unicorn horns have been forever ruined by Witcher 3. Oh, what happened in Witcher 3? Necro Mirror. Hello, hi. I hitting hard. I have to say I didn't really like The Witcher 3 that much. I have to say that. You have to know that. Just trying to figure out what the heck to do with this. Maybe I'm just staring at it too much. I don't even know if this is good. That's probably all right. Well, whatever. I think it, I mean, does that read as a horn at least? If I showed this and I slapped it on as like unicorn horn, would that make sense? It's the most important thing is it just needs to read as what I've got, or what I'm calling it. Um, 20 artifacts now? That's a lot. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. No, I think it's... No, it's not 20 because this is the same artifact. It just has alternate art. So it's 19 artifacts. But close. Very close. Also, I realize I need to fill this in. Let's see. Let me do that before I forget. There we go. Okay. As soon as they got rid of the main character in the show, I quit watching. Oh, the show. Gerald talked about how he and Yennefer used the unicorn. Oh, right. Yeah. What? But it's basically right at the beginning of the game. I guess I wasn't paying attention to that part. How do you say so locked into these projects, man? You don't get overwhelmed at times. It is overwhelming sometimes. I have a lot. I mean, look at my board. I mean, look at all of these things. Like, these are the only things that are done here. This done and covered in devlog. And then if you look at all these other things I've written down, I mean, it's getting smaller, but it is overwhelming. And that's why, like, so first of all, it comes with experience, right? Like, getting into a situation where you're overwhelmed and managing it and getting through it is as much of a skill as anything else, right? People don't tend to think of that as a skill, but it is. Like, when you have a ton of work to do, whether you're working on a game or anything else, and you're just swamped with things to do, navigating that is a skill that can be developed, right? Prioritizing things, allocating time to things, deciding what's not important and just jettisoning it away from your task list. Like, that's a skill just as much as anything else. And so, like, when you're building a game, yeah, it will be overwhelming because you'll have all these ideas, you'll have all this code that you need to write and so on and so forth. Part of the reason why I use a Kanban board is it helps me segment out things into discrete chunks of work. But then as things sit in the backlog for a long time and as ideas kind of like sit over here and they marinate, I can revisit that and say, actually, I don't want to do that, delete, right? Or that's not actually going to be important for the full version of the game. So we're going to put it way in the backlog, like it's not even going to be thought about. So yeah, that's a skill that can be developed, and that's something that you'll learn as you put yourself through more of those situations. Just managing the scope, managing your tasks, managing your time. But then the other thing is like, how do I stay so locked in? Like, I'm having a really fun time with Alchemortis, and I think it's because the game is just feeling very good, generally speaking. It looks good, it sounds good, the game design is getting there, it's an engaging game, and it's getting more engaging with every update that I put out. So the fact that it's on like that upward trajectory makes it very easy to work on because it's just fun. But it took me a long time to get to that stage. I was very much in sort of like a bite the bullet mode with Gunforged because I wasn't having that much fun developing it when it was in development. But I just said, you know what, I'm not gonna not finish this game. So I have to get through all the not fun parts and make the game. So I mean, it's, you know, it goes back to what I always say. It's like, it's just a matter of discipline, like getting in the habit of working on your game regularly, regardless of how overwhelming it is or regardless of how much it sucks to develop. If you get into the habit of like working on things regularly, then it becomes a lot easier to continue doing that. You get that momentum built up and then it's easy to just continue. But yeah, I don't know if that helps at all, but looks like a horn. Yes, good. Hello, Snupbill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that as always. And always good to see you. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Absolutely reads as a horn. Okay, good. Yummers, yummers. Money to go to the McDonald's funds. Yes, not today though. I would be surprised if McDonald's was even open today. I'm sure it is, but maybe not. Too much snow. Okay, so the unicorn horn is drawn, so we got to create that artifact then. So we export the artifacts here. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break again, and then when I come back, we will do the logic for that. We're going to have to set up the custom resource for the artifact, for the unicorn horn, and then also make it actually swap your currencies when you acquire it. I think that should be relatively easy, but we'll see. It may not be easy. Anyway, give me just 3 minutes. I'll be right back, and we will continue on. Hello everybody, your favorite niche e-celeb is back. I think streaming helps staying locked in as well because there's an expectation that we'd be live developing the game. Yeah, that is true. I mean, getting into that habit of discipline is a lot easier when there are people counting on you to be live in a certain way. However, I don't recommend that because that could actually just be demoralizing because you set up your stream, you start streaming on your YouTube channel, and you get no viewers. And I did that for a long period of time too. When I first started doing game development streaming, I would do it on Twitch, and it took me a long time to get up to even just having like 5 viewers, but I just kept doing it. And it was like a little bit of accountability, you know, like, oh, well, I have to stream at this time every evening, and during that stream time, I'm going to work on my game. But if you're looking for like an active chat to be holding you accountable and like bouncing ideas off of, you're not going to get that unless you stream a lot. Like even just recently, I didn't start breaking like 20 concurrent viewers until like, you know, a couple of months ago. So I don't recommend streaming because I think there's an implication there that if you start streaming that you're going to build an audience, and that may just not happen. And so you may just be streaming into the void, and that can be demoralizing for sure. But on the flip side, you know, the benefit of streaming is like, yeah, it does keep you to a distinct schedule where you have to work on your game. I just think that maybe for some people, if they don't get regular viewership, they may come to the conclusion, well, streaming is pointless, and then they'll lose that anchor that is causing them to work on their game at the same time every day. So I don't recommend streaming. I think it would be better just to set a schedule for yourself privately and work on it. And it doesn't need to be like a strict schedule. It could just be like every evening after I eat dinner, I'm going to work on my game for 30 minutes or whatever. It could just be something as simple as that. But the streaming does help for me, for sure. But I'm also working on my game after the stream in the afternoons and stuff. Anyway, just started streaming development of my game as well. There's definitely pros and cons. The community engagement is a big driving force. Yeah, if you can get the community, that's definitely good, but it does take a little bit of effort. A trade-off there is a lot of things can be a lot harder to wrap your head around and focus on while engaging in chat. Yeah, that's why. So one of the reasons why I'm not doing this card, so this optimized card placement on grid so that cards are packed, I was asking the AI about this because I didn't know how to describe my problem. This is apparently like a bin packing algorithm, and that's a new algorithm to me, and so I need to actually sit down and like be able to entirely focus and think about that while I'm implementing that. And yeah, I don't want to just like fumble through that on a stream, especially as like I have to respond to chat and everything. I can't necessarily maintain a train of thought. So there are definitely tasks that I reserve for doing off stream, so I can focus on them more. Working on a roguelite tactical turn-based RPG. Interesting, that sounds cool. I think it also, yeah, and you can feel free to share your stream. I mean, you know, don't put notifications every time you go live in the Firebelly Discord. But if you want to put a link to your channel in our Discord server here, so that people can go and subscribe to you, so they can catch your streams, feel free to do so. Still really early days and programming heavy, only streaming on Twitch right now under the same name as I'm just getting the hang of things. Yeah, feel free to drop your Twitch link in the Discord server if you're in there, so that other people can follow you. Fancy name. What is that in reference to? Fancy name? So you can lock in, yeah. What kind of algorithm? It's like a bin packing algorithm. I don't know. I just asked the AI about it 5 minutes before I started this stream, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I had it document the approach here in this README file, and I also asked it to put some explanations in here. So this is another thing that AI is really good for. If you're learning a new algorithm, having it like put out a document, having it put out a document with the concepts and the general approach and some code snippets that can help. And then what I can do is in a future AI session, I can plug this back in and then ask additional questions against that. So if I'm not understanding a part of the algorithm, you know, I can have like an interactive rubber duck, an interactive tutor that can walk me through the algorithm. So that's very useful. I'll just stream on the Discord voice channel. Yeah, you can if you want. The voice channel is there for you to use to your heart's content now. Yeah, you're welcome. The algorithm. Oh, bin packing. Right. I don't know if you saw my game from last night in the Discord, but I'm so not having a good time doing this alone. I'm solving my bugs little by little. There you go. Well, you'll get there. You'll get there. I haven't opened Discord in 2 months. Okay. So... Right, we need to do the unicorn horn. Data artifact, create new, resource, artifact, resource, unicorn horn, save, display name. Copy that, paste this here, paste as unique. Go in here, edit region, grid snap. There we go. Okay. And then description, upon acquisition, swaps the values of blood and alchemical residue. Okay. So we've got that. Now we need to do the actual script for that. So we create a new file, unicornhorn.cs. Copy this. So do I have like an acquisition? I don't think so. Artifact manager. Mid signal artifact added. I think what I can just do here public virtual void on acquired. Do I need the artifact context here? I don't think so. I won't add that until I need it. So on acquired, and then in my artifact manager, artifact resource dot base artifact dot on acquired. That's it. So now we go to unicorn horn. We do public override void on required. We do currency manager var current blood is equal to currency manager dot get interesting. I don't have, oh wait, yeah, blood. Oh, that's not a static method. Why is this public? Okay, those don't need to be public. But I think I will just make like a public accessor here. Public, I'll make it static. Static int blood. Okay. Our current residue is equal to currency manager dot residue. Okay. Currency manager dot take blood, current blood. Currency manager dot take residue, current residue. Currency manager dot add blood, current residue. Currency manager dot add residue, current blood. That's it. That's the entire artifact. Woo, doggy. That was a hard one. That was a hard one. But it's going to be a little bit difficult to test. No, it won't. Let's do this. Did I lose the test player artifacts again? Are you serious? Why does that keep disappearing? Enable test player artifacts. Where is that? It's not here anymore. Okay. Guess I have to re-add that. I don't know why my settings keep disappearing. Maybe some rebasing or whatever is messing it up. Am I? Oh, it's down here. On. Okay. But is test player artifacts enabled? I'm just going to do this. Get tree dot create timer 5 seconds dot timeout plus equals. I'm just going to give it a 5-second delay so that way I have time to add some debug blood and debug residue. And then when that timer ends, it should add the artifact and I should see the numbers swap. So I go in here. So let's see if those swap. There we go. Upon acquisition, swaps the values of blood and alchemical residue. So now I have 510 alchemical residue and 50 blood. So that worked just fine. And then this is stackable because, you know, as you acquire more, it will just keep flip-flopping them. So yeah. That works. Not to be alarmist, but I'm very alarmed it may try to flee the country. Okay. Oh, that happened with me too. I thought it was a 4.6 bug. I don't know. Yeah, the project settings is weird. I don't know why that happens. I'm going to turn off test player artifacts. Do I have a way of changing the loot table value? I don't. So I might need to add some weighting to these artifacts to make some rarer than others, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I think that's it. Okay. All right, tell you what, I'm very hungry. So I'm going to go eat something. But thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. Very much appreciate that. And I may be streaming later this afternoon. So keep an eye on the Discord for the live notification. Otherwise, we'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. I may actually take this afternoon to do the off-stream stuff that I want to do. But I'll let you know in the Discord if I join or if I go live again. Thank you everyone for watching. Again, you can wishlist Alka Mortis on Steam. I would appreciate if you would do that. Check out the Steam page, check out the trailer if you want to know what the game's all about. Again, the playtest is going to be happening in 6 days. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you will get 1 week of early access to the playtest. But then everyone will be able to try the playtest the week after that. What else? I think that's it. All the ways you could support me are linked in the description below. Thank you again, everyone, for watching. Thank you for your support. Appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.